All right. Well, it sounds like we're ready to go. Thanks for everybody for joining us. I'm glad to see some familiar names and faces from last year, and so nice to meet so many of the new faces this year, at least virtually. I'm Eric Mittenthal. I am Vice President of Sustainability for the North American Meat Institute. And in my role, I also lead our work with the Beef Checkoff, where we contract with the Beef Checkoff to promote prepared beef products, such as beef deli meats like roast beef, corned beef, pastrami, salami, bologna, hot dogs and sausages, and beef jerky. And we know consumers love those products, and certainly I think we've experienced over the last few months the value that prepared beef products really provide
Well,
for consumers, and for just as in their convenience, in the nutrition they provide, and people have really turned to them
hi there.
over the last few months to really be a key part of their pandemic kitchen to an extent. And so we've been working over the last few years to kind of rebrand the products. You've heard them called processed meats. We use the term prepared meats. And last year we highlighted some research that showed that consumers really see the term prepared much more positively, even though they're synonyms in the dictionary. And in reality, a prepared meat is something that is it's prepared in a plant the same way that you would do it in your home. It's just at a much larger scale. And so, we feel like people should have confidence in the products that they are finding in the grocery stores, knowing that they are high quality, they're safe, they're nutritious. They provide all the same nutrients that a fresh meat product would provide, and there are just a lot of choices on the marketplace. We have a website, meatpoultrynutrition.org, that has a very thorough overview of different products that have different nutrition attributes for folks who are seeking products that might be lower in fat or lower in sodium. So all of those types of products are available on the market for people who are seeking them. Prepared meats are also a key part of the sustainability story of the meat industry, and that's my role, is particularly focused on sustainability, because without those products, all of that meat would have to be going to other sources, and they would not necessarily be as popular with consumers. And so, utilizing it for prepared beef products allows us to use all of the animal and the meat that it provides in a variety of ways that provides consumers the products that they enjoy, and want to be a part of their diets, and have been a part of their diets for a long time and continue to be today. We in our work with the Checkoff, we were challenged to come up with some concepts that kind of move prepared beef products beyond their traditional uses. Certainly, when it comes to deli meats, we're very familiar with them in the context of a sandwich. You make a roast beef sandwich, and that's something that everybody knows how to do, and kind of the automatic thing that you go to when you consider many of the prepared meat products. And so we were trying to think of different ways people could enjoy them, and brainstormed around different ways that people might incorporate prepared meat products into their diets that would be a little bit different, be a little bit fun, be kind of on trend to what people are looking for today. And we came up with the concept of Beefshi. And it's incorporating prepared beef products into sushi style concepts. And we came up with a lot of different recipes around that. Sushi does not automatically mean that it contains seafood. Sushi is actually about the rice. It's the vinegar rice that can be with a lot of different ingredients. And we really felt like it was a good concept beyond just incorporating the prepared beef products, but it also is something that can be very versatile. You can pair the products with all kinds of different flavors and enjoy it in many different ways. And if you go to our website, beefshi.com, you can see a lot of the different recipes that we've created. There are also something that, a lot of people, sushi is a bit of a hurdle because they are not comfortable with raw fish. A lot of folks just don't like seafood in general. And so we felt like the concept of Beefshi kind of opens up sushi as a whole for a much wider audience. And so if you have a family who, maybe a couple of the family members enjoy sushi with fish, and a couple others may be a little bit more uncomfortable with fish or raw seafood, you can try it with prepared beef and know you're going to get a delicious dish and something that is really something that they'll enjoy. And so, in order to do it right, we didn't want to just come up with a concept and then just ask kind of people to come up with ideas. We wanted to actually do it in a way that was very familiar for people and make sure that the recipes were delicious and something that you could prepare. And we sampled them last year for folks who were at Shopping for Health in St. Louis. This year, we're actually going to put you to work and show you how easy it is to make them. And to do that, we invited in the chef that we hired to actually create the recipes we have for Beefshi. And we wanted to have recipes that had very familiar concepts. And so we asked Lisa Cherkasky, who is a Culinary Institute of America trained chef, to develop different rolls that would be familiar flavors for people that they would enjoy. So we're going to highlight 3 different Beefshi recipes for you today that you're going to get to make and experience them for yourself. And so those recipes are the beefy Cali roll, which is a California roll, but substituting in corned beef, a Sunday supper roll with roast beef, and a Reuben roll with pastrami, I believe, and or corned beef. I can't recall if it was corned beef or pastrami, but they're all really delicious and something that I hope you enjoy. And whenever we give this concept to people or tell people about the concept, their reaction is always the same. They hear about it and they're a little not sure what to make of it. They think about the concept of incorporating raw product, but this is not raw. These are prepared beef products that you would get in your stores. And we know that many of you are already providing sushi in your sushi counters, and we felt like this is something in its versatility that really can be very easily added to sushi counters that already exist. And so, whether you're making your sushi in store or doing so with an outside vendor, the products are all already in your stores, and so we hope this is something that would be a very easy addition to not only expand the sushi offerings that you have available, but also hopefully bring in a larger audience of people who would buy sushi with beef incorporated into it. So with that, I want to turn it over to Lisa Cherkasky to show us how to make Beefshi and help you through the process of making it yourself. So Lisa, turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm excited to make these things with you, and we're going to do it together. I haven't done cooking with other people virtually before, so this will be interesting. Okay, first we have to make sure that we all have all the stuff. So you should have received in your goodie bag, you should have the kit, the sushi kit, and in it you'll find this instructions, some nori, which we're going to use for the beefy Cali roll, your sushi mat, which we'll use for all the rolls, the rice. This is the sticky rice. It's super sticky, and that's important. That's what holds the sushi together. And yours should be cooked, and it should be warm. It should be cooked and it should be warm, okay? And when you cooked it, it needed to be seasoned with the rice vinegar powder. So the sushi rice is flavored, it has that distinctive flavor where it's seasoned with rice vinegar and a little salt and a little sugar. So you should have that. And then also in your kit, there are sesame seeds and there's wasabi powder. And we won't use these today, but you could certainly hang on to them and use them to make your own Beefshi with another iteration. Because as Eric said, the ideas are limitless. You can make it with just whatever you have on hand, or you could create some. It was a lot of fun thinking up all the different ways to do these, and they came really quickly to my imagination. So I would imagine that would happen to you as well. So that's what's in the kit, and we're going to use some of it. So for the, let's see. So then for all of them, for every roll we're making, we're going to use something called hand vinegar. This is the rice is sticky, as I mentioned. Here's mine, which is cooked and warm, and cooked and seasoned and warm. This is the hand vinegar, which is a ratio of 1 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. And this is what we're going to use. This is our non-stick substance to keep the rice from sticking to our hands. All right, we have a first recipe card, which you should have these, and Eric showed you. This is the Beefy Cali roll.
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
That's all right. I saw
great.
that we're supposed to put the vinegar into the rice, but then the recipes want that hand vinegar. I don't think I have enough vinegar to do all of that.
Okay. Well, I think you could use just water, or you could use, I think just water would be fine. You could put a different kind of vinegar in there, a little white vinegar if you want, or a little cider, but I think just water will be fine.
So the whole powdered white packet that goes into the rice, you mix it up and then it goes into the rice, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
Good question. Yep.
Lisa, would you maybe say again, would you just maybe go over again what the purpose of the hand vinegar is and why we need it?
Well, I can show you.
Okay.
The rice is sticky. Well, so here I touched the rice with my hand with no hand vinegar. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's little grains of rice stuck to my fingers. So when we put the rice in the roll, you have to be able to press it down and spread it. And if you did it with your fingers, you would go insane because it would be stuck all over your hands. But if you put your hand in the water first, you know, this is done with other things that are sticky. And then you do this, nothing sticks. So we'll dip. That'll be later. We'll dip and then press the rice down with that. Okay? Does that make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So we have, all right, so I showed you the recipe card. I showed you the mat. Everyone needs plastic wrap because we're going to wrap the mat, which also keeps anything from sticking to the mat and also keeps the mat clean in between all the slots. The rice, which we'll have rice for all of them. We talked about that. This is a cup. For this roll, there's a sauce, and for the sauce, it's kind of piquant. So the sauce has plain yogurt, 1/2 cup of plain yogurt, which is enough for 2 rolls. We'll make 1, but that's enough for 2. It has a tablespoon of horseradish, prepared horseradish. You could use fresh if you maybe are growing that, which fresh would be great. Mustard, I'm using Dijon, but you can use any kind. I like Dijon and I happen to have it, but any kind would work. Let's see, what else do we have? We have an avocado. We're going to use 1/2 of the avocado in the sauce, and then we're going to use 1/4 of the avocado for this roll because the recipe, as I said, makes 2. So the other 1/4 would be for the second roll, which you might want to make a little later after you've mastered this. Then we have the corned beef right here, and this is from the deli counter. These are really beautiful slices, and they're large. So you'll find out when I build this, you'll see that how many you need depends on the size of your slices. The ones that come in the prepared packages are littler, and these are big. And you know, you're food people, so you probably know, but in case you don't, corned beef is a salt-cured beef brisket, and it's stood the test of time. It's a very, very old preparation that was originated for keeping, you know, for preserving, and it's also seasoned with. They think the word corn comes from, the original salt was the large grains of kosher salt, which were called corns. So it's seasoned with salt, garlic, bay leaf, and a little allspice. It's a super, as you know, really distinctive and of course delicious. Then we have the garnishes, which are wasabi peas. So that's kind of that horseradish thing. It's a little take on the wasabi, and they're crunchy, of course. And we have rice seasoning, which you buy in a little jar, which is basically sesame seeds and bits of seaweed and some seasoning. Okay, so does everyone have everything they need? I hope so. If you need to gather anything, do that now. Oh, we have a bowl and a fork for mashing the avocado, a little spatula for mixing, and I have measuring utensils here, which I already used. Okay,
Any
so those I'll set
questions
aside.
at this point? Guys, feel free to jump in, or again, use the chat room if you have any questions, and I can get them to Lisa, or you can ask them to Lisa directly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm great. Just jump in. I love the back and forth. So any questions anytime is great. And I want you all to be able to follow along. So if I'm going too quickly, just feel free to tell me to slow down. Okay, that's also not a problem. Okay, so I'm going to set aside some of these. Okay, I'm going to set aside some things to make some room. You need a clean surface for working, which I failed to mention, a cutting board, and I have a big one here. Also, I failed to mention I have a paring knife, which you could use a paring knife or a chef's knife or whatever you're comfortable with. And I also have a thin slicing knife, which we'll use for when we get to slicing the roll a little later. Okay, so let's see. First, I'm going to set aside a few things and make the sauce. So I'm setting aside the nori and the things we'll need for the roll, and we'll get to that in a minute. First, we'll make the sauce. Oh, and the cucumber. I forgot to mention the cucumber. This is 1/8 of a cucumber. I used this is an English cucumber. I like these because the skin is thin. You don't need to peel them, and the color's pretty inside the roll. If you have a regular cucumber, you'll need to peel it, or at least partially peel it, because that skin, you all know this, the skin is tough. And the cucumber can be short pieces, or I made one long piece, so it's the length of the roll, but you could use short pieces and just lay them across. Either way is good, and I'll show you when we get to that. Okay, so let me put all this stuff aside for now while we make the sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up this avocado, pull out the little stem thing. There are a lot of different ways to cut an avocado, and this is the way I prefer. You can do it any way you want, but if you want to, I'll show you what I do. I cut it once around and then pry it open with a knife. Okay. Then I remove the pit this way. If you're uncomfortable with this, don't do it. Do it whatever works for you, but I hit it with a knife and twist and pull it out that way. Okay, so now I have 2 nice halves, and this looks like a pretty good avocado. It's got a little bit of dark here, and I'll trim that out. Okay, everybody good so far? All right, I'm going to peel off the outside this way with my thumb. This is coming off really nicely. This way you end up with a good half, because we're going to make slices that go down the center of the roll. So we're going to mash half, but we need a quarter that's intact. Okay, so I have this half. I'm going to trim a little bit right here where it's brown. I'm going to set aside a quarter for another roll later, and I'm going to save this quarter for the roll. Okay, now the second half, same thing, slide off the peel. I saw someone, I watched that Diana Kennedy documentary last weekend. She just squeezed the avocado right out of the peel, which I thought was really interesting. And then it's also pre-mashed, which I haven't tried, but I'm going to. Okay, everybody with me? So I have this half here. I've got a little bit of dark stuff, so I'm just going to trim that off. To be honest with you, most of the measurements for this do not need to be exact, and it will still taste great. So I'm going to cut this up a little bit with my paring knife before I put it in the bowl. Set that aside. I'm going to set aside my garbage. That, okay. Wipe up. You need to keep your board clean, especially when rolling. And I also like to work, I just like a clean surface. It's just so much easier to think when you're cooking, when the surface is clean. Okay, so now, everybody with me? You have a bowl, and I have a fork. You can use a potato masher or a pastry blender or whatever you want to use to squish up your avocado. I see a little bit of brown, which I'm going to trim off. It won't hurt, but I don't like it. Okay, so then we just mash this against the side of the bowl this way. It doesn't need to be completely smooth. You could actually make this in a food processor if you wanted to make it smooth. That'd be easy. But this is easy too. This is, I have to say, making sushi is something that I've done with my son. It's fun, and we've done it with just at the table with a group of people by putting out all the ingredients, and each person made their own, which was a lot of fun. I know no one's really entertaining these days. I hope we will be soon, but this makes enough for a nice lunch for 2 people, or actually a nice supper for 2 people, or an appetizer for a small group. And as Eric was saying, people who are reluctant to eat sushi with fish love this stuff. It's delicious anyway. It sounds a little funny, but it's all really delicious. This one, as he said, is a kind of a takeoff on a California roll, which is the avocado and the cucumber. And then, of course, we embellished. All right, so that's that. And to the avocado, I'm going to add the yogurt right here. Everybody with me? I hope so. And the mustard. It's a tablespoon. I think I said that. And the horseradish, also a tablespoon. Okay, so it's a little bit spicy from the horseradish and the mustard, and a little bit, has a little bit of a sour edge from the yogurt. It goes really well with the rice and with the corned beef. Okay, so that's that. It's a really pretty shade of pale green, and I'm going to set it aside. So it'll be ready when we get to the roll. It's when making beefshi, what I have discovered is being organized and having all your parts ready at the very beginning makes it so easy later. So that's done. I can set it aside and move on to the roll. All right, so the first thing you need is your mat. I think that's right. Yes, and the mat, all right. So it gets wrapped with plastic, and this is kind of important. It's actually very important. So you want to wrap it really thoroughly. So wrap it first in one direction this way, and you fold it over like this, like an envelope. Fold it over firm and press out the air, okay?
Lisa,
Then, yes.
could you give us a couple of seconds just to make sure? I want to finish the sauce, and I don't know this
Oh,
part.
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
great, take your time.
Thank you for suggesting that. I was going to say, yeah, let's make sure everybody's done with the sauce. And Lisa, if you would maybe go over that again, because you're right, this is the most important thing about putting this together so that it stays together, right? The mat,
Definitely.
the plastic, and the nor. So
Yes,
go
yes,
over that
yes.
if you would really slowly, and so everybody can watch and then try it.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'll undo this and I'll do it again. Nancy,
And
you want to
also,
look in?
this is applicable to all the rolls. Is that correct? It's not just this one we're making now, but all the recipe rolls.
All the rolls, any roll, anytime you make a sushi roll, you're going to use this mat and you're going to use it wrapped in plastic.
Got it. Okay.
And it when you have a roll made with nori, like our first one, the mat stays clean with the plastic because the nori is clean. Okay, I'll give it a couple minutes. Someone let me know when you're ready, okay? Nancy, maybe you can give me a heads up.
Okay, sounds good.
And maybe I won't talk for a minute so y'all can concentrate. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Oh, I can do one thing where I forgot. I made a roll ahead and finished it to show you guys, and I forgot to do that. So here's what it's going to look like. I can't not talk.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's this is where we're headed.
Lisa, what is the best way to store nori?
Wrapped, because if you leave it out, the moisture will make it curl up. So it needs to be in plastic, like a Ziploc.
Should it be stored in the refrigerator?
No, just in the cupboard.
Okay.
It keeps indefinitely as far as I know. But that's a really good question. The bag it came in is good, but I would either tape up the end really carefully or I would move it into a Ziploc.
Okay.
Okay. And also the nori that, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but the nori that's in the kit, the recipe says to use one piece of nori, and the kind I bought is twice this size. So it comes in different sizes. So we'll use 2 of these. I think I did mention that. But you just adjust, and once you get the hang of it, you see, I mean, the mat becomes your parameter for how much you need of everything.
Okay, great.
It's kind of a map, which is cool.
Elaine just sent us a note and said that the packages of nori come with a Stay Fresh packet, that you can keep it in the Ziploc bag. So that's great.
Oh, right. That's right. Very good. Oh, yeah, that absorbs moisture. That is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what
They get
about
weird and curly?
What about cleaning the mat in between use?
Well,
I mean,
if
you can reuse these mats, so.
Oh yeah, forever.
Okay.
If you're making rolls that are made with nori, then the mat stays clean, and you can put it away with the plastic still on it. We're making a couple rolls where there's meat on the outside, so I would take the plastic off and throw it away and wrap it again the next time. What I'm going to do today between the 2 rolls that have meat on the exterior is I'm going to wipe down the mat, the plastic, okay, rather than rewrapping.
Okay.
Because
And
we're
one
going to
more,
make these right away and eat these right away.
right. And one more question I just got.
Okay.
And this is actually my concern too. I'm sitting here looking at my rice. My rice has cooled off a little bit. Is that a problem?
No, that's okay. Room
Okay.
temperature is fine. It just shouldn't be cold because when it's cold, you know, the starch molecules get brittle and it won't stick. They get hard.
Okay.
So it just needs to be cooled down is fine. You just don't want it cold because it won't work. The
Okay.
other thing is that an important thing in sushi is the contrast between the temperatures of the ingredients. So the rice, if it's a little warm or room temperature and the fillings are cold, that's part of the pleasure is the contrast of temperatures. So that's also good. Okay, should I move on? Guys good?
Everybody good?
Okay.
Okay. I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
Good.
Okay, cool. Okay, here comes the wrapping. And we're gonna do this once. I won't do this for the other two rolls, okay? You won't need to. So lay a piece of plastic wrap long enough. It needs to be at least twice as long as your mat. So I'm laying mine all the way across here. And putting this here. So I'm putting the mat in the center of the plastic. Okay, everybody with me?
Mhm.
Okay, then I'm folding up the one side and pressing it closely onto the mat. And then the other side, and you want to get as close to the, right up to the end of the mat. So there's not, your plastic's not loose. And then press it down and press out any air and squeeze the ends. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to not be too loosey-goosey. Okay, now I'm taking the mat off the board, setting it aside so I can roll out another piece of plastic, the same length. And now we roll out another one. Okay. Flatten it. I know plastic wrap can be really a pain. Okay, there we go. All right, and now we wrap, so the mat, last time I had it this way, so I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees and put it in the middle and wrap the other way to keep the plastic secure all the way to the edges there. I mean, close up to the edge. And then the same thing, press out the air. Okay, and fold in the edges. So it should be really well wrapped like this, okay? You can see that. Then the side that's flat, that doesn't have the seams on it, is the side we're gonna put up. When you turn the mat, we're gonna roll away from ourselves. So you wanna turn the mat like a roll top desk so it rolls from you that way. So put this in front of you. Everybody good? Any questions? Okay, that's the first thing. Now, take your nori, the 2 sheets, and the shiny side goes down. There's a shiny side and a bumpy side. So the shiny side goes down. I'm gonna put one down. Now I'm gonna use a little hand vinegar. The water will help the nori stick to itself at this step and also at the end when we roll. So you can take a little water if you're using water, which will work, or a little hand vinegar, and I'm rubbing it along the edge of the inside edge of one piece of nori. And then I'm gonna lay the second piece on and overlap it slightly so they stick together right there. Okay, everybody with me? Did I do that right? I did it right. Okay, good question. See, here's a big piece. These are the ones that I had purchased before my kit arrived. So it's just, these are nice too. When you run out of the ones in your kit and you're dying to make more Beefshi, because you will be, maybe you can buy those. Okay, I bought them online, but they're not hard to find.
Sorry,
Okay,
there's like lines in it. Which way were those supposed to go?
lines up, shiny side down.
Okay.
Okay, everybody good? Okay, so the first thing that goes down on this is the rice. So I'm just gonna dump it and not touch it. I'm gonna dump it right in the center, like that, in a blob. Okay, and now you'll see where the hand vinegar comes in handy. So you dip both hands or fingers and shake off the excess. You don't, and you can re-dip as you go. And so I'm pressing. I hope you can see this. So you're pressing the rice and spreading it, and I dip pretty often. You want to leave a really important part is to leave 1 inch of nori blank at the end away from you, because that's going to be the seal, kind of like when you roll it up, it'll seal itself because we'll moisten it. So we're going to take the rice and spread it. You can press hard because you want your roll nice and compact. And we're going to spread it from all the way from one side to the other and up to the edge closest to ourselves, and not all the way to the other end. And the same thing, it doesn't need to be perfect, but it's good if it's pretty even from side to side, so the roll is not fat in one spot, which is also fine. And it takes a little practice, but I think sushi is kind of a miracle. It looks difficult and it looks amazing when it's done, but building it, if you just follow the steps, it works every time. And it's impressive. And it's so fun to eat because, you know, you get a bite of each ingredient in every bite, which is like kind of like what the goal is when you're eating a plate of food, right? And you get to the end, you have a bite of each thing. So you have the perfect flavor combination. And with a sushi roll, you have that in every bite. Okay.
Hey,
so
Lisa,
yes.
we have a question. Did you use, how many nori rolls did you use?
I used 2 pieces of the nori. I used 2.
Okay. And that's what makes it so wide.
Yes, and I adhered them with a little bit of water, rice vinegar down the middle. Okay. If you didn't do that, you could make a small one, but you would need half the amount of everything else, including the rice, which you could do. But they need to be long enough this way to roll. Okay, so does everyone follow? So the seam needs to go from you and then, you know, away, so that your roll, it's a square, almost a square. It's a little bit longer this way than it is wide. Okay, my rice is pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna stuff in the bits at the end. You can manipulate this quite a bit, and you work at it until it's how you want it to be. All right, how's it going? I think I should maybe give you all a couple minutes to finish up with the rice. Nancy, are you making it?
I am.
Oh, okay, how's it going?
Good. I mean,
Okay.
it probably doesn't look exactly like yours, but it's good.
Yeah, none of them do. They come out slightly different every time, which is fun because when you slice into it, it's kind of, I think it's a fun surprise to see what's in there.
Right.
Just like when you make a rolled cookie or any other thing that has a surprise center. It is really fun to see or even a wrap, what pattern you get. Okay, so is your rice pretty well spread, everybody? Mine, I have a fat spot here. There, how's that? Let me rinse off my hands. Should I move on?
I think so. Everybody good? Okay, yes.
All right, okay, if you got wet spots, you can wipe them up. Okay, I'm gonna set the hand vinegar aside. We won't need it again till we get to the next roll. Okay, the next thing to go on here is the corned beef. And as I said, my pieces are large, and so you need to adapt according to the size of your corned beef. And what you're doing basically is covering the rice with the meat. And so I think I'm going to use 3 slices here. I think that'll do it. You can overlap. I'm overlapping, and I'm leaving that bit of empty nori at that side away from me. And I might trim these a little bit just to make sure they're not overhanging too much. But I'm going to use 3, and that seems to fit really well. That seems good. Last time I made this, I used 4 because they were out of they were prepackaged and they were a little smaller. Okay, so that's that. All right, now slide that away from you. I'm done with this. We're going to slice up the cucumber. See, mine's a little long. I'm going to cut it a little shorter. Mine's a little long for the roll. I guess I could trim it off later, but I think I'll trim it now. So that's about right. Okay, and I've got the quarter of the avocado from before. So we have those 2 things. All right, and this is what shows green in the center, which is pretty. Okay, so both of these, the object is to make thin slivers that will go in the center of the roll. So you can do it any way you want. And they don't need to be, as I said, these don't need to be perfect either. They just need to be like sticks. so that you can roll over them. So I'm making long, skinny pieces. And some of mine, okay, so there's a short one. Mine are, you know, kind of all over the map. Okay. There we go. Everybody fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've got the cucumber, and I'm going to put that down. So you need to put the garnishes that go in the middle of the roll go on the half closest to you, so that when you roll, they don't squeeze out the other end. So I'm putting them here, and you tuck them in on the ends, and try to do it as even as you can. Oh, this one seems too thick. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Okay. And if you were going to make a bunch of these, you would, you know, you could prep everything ahead, and then you would just get all your rolls going one after another. You do all your preparation first. Okay, that, and then the avocado, same thing, little sticks. And you can do that any way that suits you, because an avocado, of course, has a funny shape. And they go on top of the cucumber like that. Everybody okay? Are your avocados ripe? Ripe enough? Okay. So this has got a lot of nourishment in it. You know, the rice, and it's got the good vegetables in the center. And you know, the thing about prepared meats is they're extremely flavorful. So that, you know, they pack a punch, which is one thing I really like about them. I love corned beef. I love pastrami. I love roast beef. All of them, because they're interesting to eat, and they bring a lot on their own. Okay. I think I have a little, this was a big avocado, so I think I won't put all that in there. You know, they do, of course, they vary in size. All right. You'll see. And sometimes it squeezes out a little bit on the end, and that's totally okay too. All right, so this is what you should have in front of you, if you can see this. So I've got, now we're ready to roll. So everybody, I don't want to start rolling until everybody's ready, because that's an important part. Nancy, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Is anybody not ready? Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so, and I imagine that some of you, maybe a lot of you have done this before. So you use your mat to guide you, and you lift up and you turn it over and you tuck in with your fingers, and you can press really hard and press like that. Squeeze it all in there and press with the mat, and you get one roll over. So I've got one roll over where the meat covers the filling, okay? Then use the mat and really press. Fold it over like that and squeeze it hard. And that's where you get the shaping. Okay, then we look at it. See, that's okay. It's doing okay. You can push the little ends. You can push them back in. Sometimes they go back in and sometimes they don't. But you can try it. Okay, and roll some more and squeeze some more. You can really apply a lot of pressure. Same thing. You keep rolling and squeezing. We'll see. It's kind of, it's a really cool invention. How's mine? Mine's looking pretty good. I lost some avocado, but that's all right. And then this, and then you roll it out the end. Okay, now I've got this. All right, here's my roll. I can push some of this back in. And then the rest I'm just gonna set aside. This end I can push. That's a little stray piece. Okay, so here's the roll. There it is. It worked. Oh, you know what thing I forgot to do? I forgot to put moisture on the end of the nori to make it stick. I forgot, but you know, there's moisture from the rice, which helps a lot. I forgot that step, but it should be fine. Okay, there we go. Everybody good? All right. Slide that stuff back in there. You can roll it around with your hands once the nori is very forgiving. Okay, then you set the mat aside. All right. And you can roll it. I'm going to make mine a little bit rounder. Okay, there it is. There it is. Everybody else got something that's similar to this? I hope. All right. Any questions? Everybody with me? Okay. All right. So, all right. I have a plate, which I should have mentioned to you earlier, and a little dish for the sauce. And then we have our garnishes, which are the wasabi peas and the rice seasoning. Okay, and the sharp knife. And I'm gonna cut, let's see, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna trim the ends, so it's tidy on the ends. So I'm gonna trim off this little messy part and wipe the knife. Then I'm gonna cut in the center. You know what? I'm gonna rub the knife with a little bit of hand vinegar, which keeps it from sticking to the rice. It makes a little bit cleaner cut. And you can do that too. Slide through, nice and even. Don't go too fast. And then I wanna check it. It's pretty. Can you see? And yours should look similar, if not the same. Yeah, okay. Everybody good? And I'm gonna rub the knife every time. You could do this with a paring knife. It's a little bit easier with a long thin slicer, but a paring knife would certainly work. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna cut this in 6. It can be 8, it can be 6. I like 6 better. I like a 2-bite sushi, so beefshi. So I'm gonna cut this in 6. So here we go. There's one. Can you see? Pretty. Rub my knife a little bit. Two. You know what? I'm gonna take a little hand vinegar and stick that nori down now. Never too late. Okay. I'm gonna take a little tiny bit more off the end to even this up. Okay. 3. Everybody doing okay? I hope you're having fun. I think it's really fun to make. 4, 5, 6, and a little scrap for the chef. Okay. Okay, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm gonna put a little salt. Here's what I have so far. You can see that. This should look similar. I'm gonna put a little sauce in the bowl and then I'm gonna garnish. So as I said, this is enough sauce for 2 rolls, so it's quite a bit, but it keeps, and you can always put more. I have a tiny little bowl here, but it could be bigger.
Hey, Lisa.
Okay. Yeah.
Lisa, I just got a comment that someone said to learn from my mistake and do not use a serrated knife. I would agree with that.
Oh yes, good idea. Because did it tear the nori?
That's what Elaine said. Yeah, it would.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Good.
So,
that's a really good point. Yeah, I
yeah.
think it might tear the nori.
Right.
All
Good.
right.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Sorry about that. I hope you, after your first slice, I hope you switch knives. Okay. Then a little rice seasoning. Just to dress it up, and also tastes good. Sesame seeds. You have sesame seeds in your kit too, which you could use, and some wasabi peas, which they look pretty, but they also taste really great on this. The crunch is nice. A few more. There we go. All right, that's the finished dish. Which, can you see? All right, everybody with me? Okay. I'm going to, let's see, I thought there might be some questions. I need a couple minutes. Nancy, I need a couple minutes to clean up and set up for the next one.
Okay.
You want to, I think Eric was going to say a couple words in between, possibly.
Yeah, maybe can everybody hold up what they did?
Oh, that'd be fun. And I'm going to clean up so you all don't
up.
have to watch me with my cleanup, which seems really boring.
That sounds good.
Okay. All right, great. Let's see.
Oh, these look great.
Oh, do they? I want to see. I do. I want to see. Can I see yours, Nancy? No, I suppose. Oh, yeah. Can you hold yours up, Nancy?
Mine doesn't look as good. Probably somebody's. Look at Casey's. Look at Allison's.
Let's see.
Look at Joni's. Look at Genevieve's. Oh, look at that.
That's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you showed me up.
Whoa!
You stacked them. Oh,
Look
I can't believe
that.
Okay. That looks great.
Well done.
Yeah, really nice. Someone's been doing these in their free time. That looks great. Okay. All right. I think we're ready to move on. Nancy, if we don't get through all 3, is that going to be okay?
I think so.
Yes,
I mean, the idea is just to sort of show everybody the idea of how this works. And certainly we have
Okay,
the
good.
recipes to move on. So let's try to get through maybe the next one. And then if we have to drop the
Yeah,
third one, that's
we'll
okay.
see how it goes. Yeah, I didn't see any point in rushing because then no one will learn anything.
Exactly. Which one
Okay.
is next? We had a question. What is next?
We were gonna Sunday supper is next, or we could do the Reuben roll. Do you have a preference about in case we don't get to all three?
Does anybody have a preference? Which one we do next? Yeah, let's just go ahead and go with the one you said.
Okay, Sunday supper. All right,
Sunday
let me
supper,
grab. Okay, the kit, we've been through the kit, so we don't need to talk about that. Okay, all right, here we go. So we have the just gathering my stuff up, but everyone has their recipe card right here, Sunday supper roll, and everyone already has hand vinegar. That's great. Everyone has a wrapped mat. It's clean. It should be clean and ready to go. So the wrapped mat. Let's see, roast beef. Oh, I have mine's also from the deli counter, so it's really nice and it smells really good. I love roast beef. The rice, of course, warm or room temperature. Let's see, pea shoots or watercress. A friend gave me pea shoots from her garden, so I was really fortunate, and that's what I have here. And I pulled off the stems, but watercress is good too. But it's sort of it's Sunday supper, so it's beef and peas and then carrots right here. All right. The recipe says to blanch the carrots. We didn't do that because I wasn't sure you all would be in your kitchens, and it's fine to use them just out of the package. I bought these in the produce section already shredded, but you could shred on a box grater. You could do it with a knife. It really doesn't matter as long as they're nice and thin and they'll roll properly. We have that. Garlic salt, little garlic salt. I have a pepper grinder. You can use pepper any form you want. Black pepper. I have one radish, which I'm going to use for the garnish. It's kind of a takeoff on the horseradish thing. And then there's a sauce for this, but I wasn't sure you all would be in your kitchens. And the sauce requires the stove. Well, so I made it ahead, and I'm going to tell you about it, but I'll just tell you about it. It's beef broth and Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of garlic, and you put it on the stove, let it simmer a little bit. It's basically an au jus. Let it simmer a little bit, and then right before you serve, you rewarm it, okay? And then you dip, and it's kind of like an au jus, like Sunday supper, and also a little bit like that delicious French dip sandwich. That's one of my favorite sandwiches. Okay, so we have that, which I'll just keep it here. Okay, does everybody have everything they need, all their ingredients? Nancy, you have everything? You're my
I do. Would you point out, Lisa, the difference when this one and the one we did before? Is that on this one, the prepared beef is on the outside.
Right. This one, the meat is going to be on the outside. Exactly.
Right. Which is
and
a
there's
little
no
bit of
nori in. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
The beef is the wrap instead of the nori, so it showcases it.
Right.
Which is pretty cool, actually. Okay. Yeah. You don't always have to use nori. You can. You can, or you can use meat if you've got, yes, you can use the sliced beef. Okay, so that's everything. All right, I'm going to slice up this radish first, so it's ready to go. I've already made the sauce, so I'll slice the radish, which is the garnish, and then we'll make the roll. I didn't show you the finished roll. Here's one I made earlier. So here's where we're going, except for that fancy person who did them shingled, which I hope you'll do that. Hope you'll do that again. It's a great idea. All right, that's where we're going. So we have one radish, and I'm going to just slice it really thinly. And you could do this on a mandolin. You can cut it in half first if you're more comfortable that way. I'm just going to do it like this, little thin slices. It gives that little bit of crunch and a little bit of heat, which, as we talked about, it's about contrast in texture and layering flavors. So the rice, of course, has a lot of flavor, and the peas shoots are so fresh tasting. And then the beef, of course, is super flavorful. And then we have seasonings. Okay. So I'm gonna
Lisa, I had one person jump in and say that they're using arugula instead.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So if you don't have everything.
Yeah, arugula is a great idea. Hey, Nancy, my AirPods just indicated that they're going out. So I'm not sure how much more. I don't know what's going to happen. So I need my tech person to know that. And I don't know if they can hear me, but I'm just letting you guys know. Okay. Well, maybe I'll go to ear. I don't know what'll happen. Okay. So we have our mat. Same wrapping. It should be ready from before. Lay it down the same way. This one, here so you can see me. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. We're going to start, as I said, we're starting with the beef. So use as many slices as you need to cover the mat, not all the way to the edge, but close. And I have 4 slices here, which I think should be just right. And I'm going to do, and they should overlap. So when you roll it, there aren't spaces and holes. Okay. All right. Let's see, I'm going to do it this way. And then this way, it's like working a puzzle. And you use your best judgment. Okay, everybody good on that? And the next thing to go down is the rice. Same thing. I would plop it down, just like that. And then oh, I forgot one step. I think I can watch me pick up the rice. You don't have to do this, but I think I can do it. Oh, there we go. All right, I forgot this last time too. First the pepper, which could have gone on the rice. First the pepper. Okay, and then the garlic salt. You don't have to use garlic salt. You could use powdered onion if you prefer that, or you could probably use Montreal steak seasoning, would be delicious. Because you could put any kind of seasoning on here that you wanted. Okay, now the rice. Now the rice. Okay, everybody good? Any questions? Rice is going down. We're all experts now, right? Okay, now the hand vinegar. Okay, we spread. Same deal. It goes to the edges and we leave 1 inch at the top for the seal. Okay, and as I said, you can use quite a bit of pressure because you want your roll nice and tight and not to have holes inside. So press, press, press. My rice is warm. It feels nice. You know, you probably did this, but it rewarms in the microwave really nicely. You just can cover it with a damp paper towel and run it through the microwave just till it's warm. You can also steam it a little bit on the stove. You can put it in a steamer and rewarm it that way. It's a little bit more complicated, but it certainly works. Okay, there we go. This is gonna be nice. Everybody good? The more you do it, at least for me, the more that I do it, the more I enjoy it because I feel more confident. I think it's super fun. I think the idea is so good. I was really excited when Naomi called and asked me to do these. We did them for different states. There's a muffaletta one. There's one from Arizona. It's kind of got a Southwestern feel. There's, let's see, what else do we have there? There's a Wisconsin one. Okay, there we go. All right, hand vinegar aside. And you could, as I said, make these with anything that you can find in your refrigerator, I think. And it'd be great if you would, and then get back to us. Okay. Pea shoots, they go on this side, just like before, closest to us. Or arugula, which is a great idea. Or watercress. Okay. These are super nice, tender. And then carrots, same thing. Everybody good? I feel like I'm cooking with astronauts. Okay, ground control. All right, here we go. Now the wrapping. Oh, I forgot to mention again, I'm sorry, I took it for granted. You need a landing pad, a plate. You don't have to. I mean, they could just go on your board, but I have a plate and a little dish for the sauce right here. These are done. And I have my garnish and I have my sauce. Okay, everybody else got it together? Ready to roll? Okay, same thing. Only this time the meat is the wrapper. So one time over, I'm gonna dip my hands. Use your hands to hold the filling in. Same way. Press and roll and press really hard at the beginning so the center is nice and tight and you don't have holes. roll, and press all the way from the center to the ends. Okay. Everybody doing okay? All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Ugh. Satisfying. Okay, here's mine. Looks pretty good so far. Okay. Mat goes aside. I've got some little bits, odd bits, which I guess I could push back in. Okay. Okay, any questions? Everybody okay? Nancy, how's yours?
I did not do this one, but
Oh, okay.
I'm watching along. So
Okay, cool. Okay, good.
it would
All
have
right,
been
let's
great.
see. It would have been perfect. Okay, same deal with the slicing with the knife and so on. Not a serrated knife, which we all learned. I'm going to do this in sixths. So right down the center. Maybe I'll make eighths because this seems big because my roast beef was big. I think I'll do eighths so they're not such a mouthful. Let's see here. This one. Oh, now I get to the reveal. Let's see. Oh, it's pretty. See? It's got that nice green and the orange. I love it. Okay, there's that. 2. Got kind of a mess going here, a little bit of a mess. 3. I don't know if I can get 8 on this plate, so I'll start with 6 and see how we do. That one's a little bit loose, so I turn this side. You can manipulate them a little bit after you slice them too, which you probably discovered on the last roll. And you can also roll them. They don't have to be round, especially with the nori. You can do square or you can do triangles. I'm sure you've all seen those if you haven't made them yourself. Okay, I think I can get, let's see what I can get on this plate. I can get 6 on this plate, so I'm going to stop with 6. But if you had 2 rolls, you would have a bigger plate and it would serve more than one person. Okay, all right, a little sauce. Well, so also you have the wasabi powder, which would be really tasty with this one. So you could make sauce from that, or you may have wasabi in your fridge, and there's lots of other condiments that would be good as well. Straight horseradish would be good, or horseradish mayonnaise would be good with this, lots of things. You probably, I assume, just like me, have a million condiments in your fridge. All right, the radishes for garnish. So you can tuck them in on top, sprinkle them on the plate, sprinkle them around. Whatever you're doing, I bet it's beautiful. I want to see. Okay, there we are. That's the Sunday supper roll. Woo, okay.
Nice.
Can't tip it up too far. See? All right. Everybody good? Successful? I take that as a yes. Okay, I'm going to clean up and move on to the Reuben roll because I think we're getting a little short on time. Is that right, Nancy?
Well, we actually only have
What should I
about
do?
5 or 6, less than 10 minutes. So does
Okay.
anybody have any
What do you
comments?
think we should do?
Eric, do you have anything you want to say? Or, I mean, at least if you want to make it quickly, that'd be great. Or we can
I
just kind
probably
of
could.
talk.
I
Well,
can
one-
make it quickly and you guys could talk at the same time. You want to do that?
Okay,
And I'll make this and yeah, how's that?
good.
So you guys could kind of watch me and then maybe Eric, you want to do some talking for,
Sure.
okay.
And Lisa, one thing you might want to add about the Reuben roll. So the photo that you see is with the rice on the outside. And in order to do
yes,
that, you need a couple
that's
mats.
right.
So Lisa, maybe you want to just talk a little bit about that.
There were two things I was going to talk about a little bit. One is, yes, the recipe. Okay, here's the recipe. And this is called an inside out roll where you have the rice on the outside. What you do is you start with the pastrami just as I'm going to, and then you add the rice and the seasoning and then you flip it. But you need a second mat for that. And we just have one mat. So I'm going to do it just like the Sunday supper roll with the meat on the outside. And then, okay. And then, but you can do it the other way. You just need a second mat. And then, yeah, it's a different look and it's pretty. And the other thing I was going to talk a little bit about pastrami and just say that it's also a very, very old preparation, which was originally developed for preservation and has stayed with us because it's so delicious. And pastrami is similar. It's sort of like the bacon of beef. It's from the belly of the beef, and it's brined and then smoked like bacon. And it has some flavor overlap with corned beef, and people do switch them out, of course. And you could switch them out for these rolls because it has garlic and salt and also allspice, and then some additional things, paprika, coriander, I think some mustard seed and so on. But if you prefer one or the other, you can certainly swap them in or out for any of these rolls. Okay, I think that about covers it, Eric, as far as specific things. And I'll just go ahead and I'll make this roll you guys can watch or make it with me. And maybe Eric, you'll talk for our last few minutes.
That sounds good.
That sound good? And maybe I'll say goodbye now because I'm gonna.
Unless there are any other last questions for Lisa. Anybody have anything particularly you want to address to Lisa or? Okay, thank you.
It's been really fun. Thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you've made. I hope I'll get to see them. Okay,
Great.
back to you, Eric. Thank you.
And I think one of the things, about doing the rice on the outside versus the inside, I think we aim for all of the recipes to be very versatile. And so, we highlight that with the different ways you can make this. With the Sunday supper roll, you can use the pea shoots, you can use arugula, or lots of other ingredients. And so there's no rules around this by any means. We just want it to be fun. The main rule is you got to use beef for the Beefshi, but beyond that, we really are want people to be very creative with them. We've worked with several bloggers and to do their own recipes as well. And so we've added a section of our website where any new recipes that folks have created, we've added it to our website to show the different ways that people have been making their own creations. And so all those are fair game, basically. We want all those to spark ideas for you, and certainly any way that you'd be able to incorporate this into what you're sharing with your customers would be great. We just want to highlight the value of prepared beef in the diet, and think this is just a fun way for people to engage with it. Any other questions for us at the Meat Institute? I'll be speaking later on the panel, and I know folks, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about sustainability because that's my primary role. But I know there's been a lot of questions about the supply chain and things like that, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that now, or we can do those later if you have questions. But we're very fortunate that I think most things are back up and running. I saw Elaine's comment earlier that there were still some products that weren't all available. And I think one of the things that we're seeing is that, if you're looking for roast beef, if you're looking for a particular type of meat, you can find it. You might not be able to find the exact brand that you're used to having. And so that's the one thing that's kind of, even less so now, a little bit less so now, but that was what we were dealing with earlier. And I think most things are available. So I see there's a question about talking points for TV segments for Beefshi. So we don't have them on the website actually, but we have lots of talking points that we are more than happy to share with you. We've done several TV segments with Beefshi, and they go over really well. The reaction of the TV hosts to the concept is great. They really love the idea. And as I said at the beginning, it's one of those things that when you hear about it and you think about beef sushi, you're thinking raw and you're not quite sure what to make of it. And the reaction is always the same. It's really kind of just like, huh? And then you see it, you taste it, and people love it. And so we've had some really great experiences highlighting it on TV segments. So yeah, we have that, and happy to share those. And for kids cooking at home, we've done that too. And one of the recipes that we have on our website was actually a dietitian and her daughter made the recipe together, and her daughter wanted to do a recipe with a hot dog, which we have already as well, but she wanted to create her own recipe. And so she did her own recipe with a hot dog in it, and it sounded great. And so she was so excited about it, and we added it to our website. So one of the recipes you can find on the bonus section of our website with the new rolls is from a teenager who wanted her own hot dog roll, and so she did that.
Mhm.
So just another kind of fun way to engage with it.
That is great. Eric, thank you. Our technical directors can put up a final slide, there it is, that shows how to reach Eric if you have follow-up questions. So if anybody, I certainly have this information that I can get to you, but if you want to note his email address, or there's the website where the recipes are. We're happy to help, of course, with anything, any follow-up questions. We can get them to Lisa or to Eric, or whoever can best answer.
And one other point, we've talked to different stores about sampling. We're actually working with Elaine at Albertsons right now to do some of that. I know everybody's kind of on a different timeline for having sampling available and different comfort levels for for having people taste things in the store right now. But we're ready to do it, and so if your store has that capability or are working on bringing that back and want to sample this, we will absolutely work with you on doing that. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and we will do whatever we can to work with you to help sample this in stores.